Right, dude, Legends. Yet another adventure. Rolling out to pick up the group. I'm on Cochran's at Spiral Lee Court. And I'm rolling out there. I'll get some good clips today. It's a mild day. It's a little muggy because we've had a lot of rain in the area. But let's check out our new logo on the arm sleeves. Custom. Got some on the socks. So, getting a lot of different pieces of VH kit. One up here. There's two on the pockets also. But hopefully you get a chance to get some K's in your legs this Saturday. Should be interesting.
On this ride, I rolled into the woodlands, picked up the group at the Alden Village Center. We headed out on 1488 West into Magnolia. We took 149 past Karen, continued on Jackson Road. I began filming around there, and then on 1488 I had a flat, so we stopped to fix that. Then we continued to Magnolia. We stopped at a store, Old Hempstead Road. I believe I resumed filming after we got into the Stagecoach area. Went towards Decker Prairie. We had one member of the group that was struggling, so I kind of stayed back with him when we got to Rose Hill. We stopped at a store in Rose Hill, then continued through Tomball. This was basically an excursion into the southwestern part of town. And I think you will love the clips that we put together for you. We're on the open road. We're on Highway 149 North, headed towards Dobbins, Texas, but we don't really get to Dobbins. We go ahead and swing west and go to Magnolia. But right now we're approaching Jackson Road. I get on the road here. There's a car behind me. I let him know we're going to take the road. Abby sees me. He's going to come over too. We're going straight. And so we're making sure that nobody tries to swing by us. This is 149. If you go right, it continues as 149. If you go straight, it becomes Jackson Road. So we're going straight. We'll wave at that driver. He's tapping his horn. I waited to start filming here because up until we got here, we're just in a straight line on a narrow shoulder. You can't really see the dynamics of the group very well. Once we get on Jackson, it's a lot less of a busy road. And so we kind of have a tendency to spread out. A lot of people are drifting to avoid braking and so forth. So Kenny is pulling off from the front and he's drifting to the back. So at the end of this road, probably in about 10 kilometers, about 6 miles, we turn onto 1486 to go west, and my rear tire just goes flat. I'm riding my VeloFlex tires, and once they get a puncture, they go flat, and they basically spread out, and they're basically like a pancake, and they start touching the brakes. You feel it right away. Those are the kind of flats I prefer because it was instant, which told me that it wasn't very likely that something had embedded itself in the tire that was very small. It wasn't a slow leak. It was an instant puncture, so I hit something on the road. We got it sorted. In fact, after fixing that flat, I've got a product that came in from Magic Shine that I will be reviewing. It's a small pump, battery powered. I've done some little testing on it already, and it just basically saves you some elbow grease. It is not faster than a pump in terms of speed, it is very reliable, but you're gonna have to keep up with making sure it is charged if you're gonna carry it. Plus, it weighs about 90 grams more than my pump. So I, for one, probably won't be carrying it on rides. So I'll do a video on it to expose you guys to the features and functions. And it's neat, but it's, you know, it's okay. You got to kind of keep up with it. And it's like a cube-shaped thing that you got to put in your bag or your pocket or whatever. I don't have flats that often to be concerned about it. What ended up happening on this ride, I was testing some vulcanizing fluid on some tubes, and that's what I had in my bag, and they were not holding air at all. So after we installed it, we had to take it out and put another tube. So Paul, my brother, gave me another tube to use. So I've chucked those tubes, and you have to get a special vulcanizing fluid that is strong and bonds really well, because a lot of the EPA rules and where they've changed how people make those glue for bike tires, some of them don't hold very long. And so even when the patch works, it might get you home, and then the next day or so, the tube goes soft again. So I've just really quit trying to patch a lot of these tubes. I just go ahead and replace them, especially the ones I'm carrying. So I happen to be carrying tubes in my kit, my travel bag or emergency bag that really were incapable of holding the air. So we did all that work for nothing and had to switch them out. I have been off my normal schedule and just been busy with other stuff. So been riding when I can, you know, not as religious, but still my fitness is there because I've been maintaining. I stay a little to the right of John's wheel. We call it Clement Champoussin, to avoid braking so much. I'm not doing a whole lot of shifting. I'm sitting in a 5317. I literally confirmed it by looking down in the ride during the ride. And I just sat in the 5317 for most of this stretch because the gradients are pretty mild. No more than 5% when we do encounter them. And this way I don't have to do too much shifting. So you see my cadence go anywhere from 75 to maybe 100. I think it's Doug that's pulling. Doug always pulls very smoothly to keep the group moving. I've rarely seen him surge on the rides, unlike Jerry, who rides with us all the time and likes to get to the front and you get a rhythm and then he starts to surge repeatedly. So your rhythm is always changing, like it's a road race. And you know, a lot of times if I'm not in the mood for that kind of riding, I just let him surge and go. I just keep riding steadily because he's going to sit up in a while anyway. So Doug's done pulling, he's drifting to the back. And that's the way I like to pull. If I'm going to do 40 kilometers an hour, I'll get to the front and I'll do 40 kilometers an hour. And when the terrain changes, I will keep the effort the same. So whether the speed goes down or goes up will be driven by the terrain, not me trying to break people's legs by surge and all of that. I don't do that all the time. Although I rode with a group on Sunday along with Paulie Longa, and we did a lot of surging on the way back. They wanted to play, and I was feeling good, so we messed around. I didn't do anything to disrupt their group. I just followed what they were doing. I let them make the moves. They leave from Zanti's, and they were, it was fun. So you got to find out what your group's doing and then decide if you're in the mood. If you're not in the mood, you hold your speed steady, because if they're not going to do that speed for the duration and you hold your speed, you will ride back up to them. And sometimes Jerry does that. He'll go off the back, he'll sit on the back of the group, and then he will ride up to the group to do his intervals or whatever. And then later in the ride, he'll come to the front and start surging again. But when I'm close to him, I just sit on his wheel. I don't help with the effort. So right here, this group is moving. You can see it's just nice. It's nice and steady. We're in the same range. I'm not sure who's pulling now. I don't think it's the pirate yet. It's not Laura. It's somebody else. Oh, I think it might be. Is it Kenny? No, Kenny I just pulled off. We'll see in a little bit. But anyway, in about maybe 3 kilometers, we'll come to where the road starts to kick up. And it's a nice gradual rise. Nothing that requires that you get in a small chain ring, but you got to do some work because the pace doesn't go down too much. The effort has gone up a bit. I'm at sweet spot. I had mostly been around zone 2. I can hear people talking in the back. When I'm riding, as I said before, when I'm riding with the group, I don't do a whole lot of talking. If it's just myself and Paul, there are parts of our ride when we will ride together, we would ride 2 abreast, we would chat. And then there are parts of the ride where we kind of start riding, so to speak. In the group, I pay attention. I don't want to talk too long. Hello, whatever, and get back to riding. Because there's a lot of stuff going on that you need to pay attention to. You want to save your energy where possible so that when you get to the front, you can help the group. So Mel is sitting in front of John right now. Somehow I end up on Mel's wheel in a bit. I think John's gonna go forward, I think. But I noticed that Mel will be struggling, and I end up pushing him up the hill because it was just a short little bump, and he got gapped. And I just gotta put the hand in his lower back and push him up. Sometimes that's all you need to kind of keep you going. But throughout the ride, he was off. His energy level was off. So it's something he's gonna have to work on. I think Mel could use a bike fit. He doesn't look very comfortable. There's quite a few riders in our group who could use a tune-up on their fit. We have a lot of riders that will shake their hands because it gets numb during the ride. If your hands are getting numb, your weight is not distributed properly. Your fit's off. You're not efficient. You're not as comfortable as you could be on that machine. So your body puts up with it for short durations, but after about 45 minutes, you start to feel circulation being cut off in your hands and so forth. So the road starts to go up here. It's very gradual. I'm looking to see how I ended up on Mel's wheel, but I don't remember. But somehow I ended up on his wheel, and I think you will even see me give him a push.
Yeah, it's nice. Coming with us for the whole ride.
That's Logan. He said he said I ordered a cloud cover. That was Paul that was pulling. I ordered a cloud cover. He said it's going to be with us for the whole ride. I told him it should be. According to the forecast, it's supposed to be overcast with a slight chance of rain. We're supposed to get rain in the afternoon. I always check the weather because I kind of want to ride. You know, our rains have been isolated thunderstorms recently, which I don't mind them so much, but it's nice to know whether you need to cover your shoes or whatever. So I decide what colors to wear. So right here, Mel is struggling a little bit. There's a bit of a gap. And I think on the next bump is where the gap opens for him. When we get to the end of this road, that's where my tires started getting soft. So I think John's gonna go around Mel somewhere here. Trying to see what made him go around Mel. But the group is moving, and that's the thing. You know, everybody's taking their cuts at the front. It's a slight downhill, so the speed goes up. I think this is where John probably goes around Mel. The road's gonna kick back up. It gets there in a hurry here. This is not very gradual. You can see it went from 0 to almost 3. Right here, so John just maintained his momentum. Mel's struggling. So I put my hand on his back and I'm gonna push him right here. And that really makes a difference. We're gonna be turning left. After we turn is when I start getting a flat tire. When we turned, the bike felt fine. I think it was after we turned because when I turned, it wasn't squishy or anything. And it was one of those quick ones. All of a sudden, I just started feeling everything. And with these tires, you gotta stop quickly. You don't want to ruin your tire or your wheel.
Stopping.
So we're turning left. The cars. So I told them we're stopping. So right here, I go ahead to stay in the line. I'm gonna stand up. Kenny's gonna come around on my left, and they don't back off. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the effort down to stay in the wheels. This road going up here is 4%. I just remain standing. I shift up and keep a big gear rolling. That's why you see 70s in my RPM. And then I sit down here. And right after here, my tires started feeling soft. And then Logan will be the first one that asks me, is everything okay? Because this whole time here, right here, it started feeling soft. I started feeling more of the pavement, more than normal. So it's already getting deflated here. So I stayed to the right a little bit, and I look down to see what's going on. Because some surfaces, sometimes when the tire's okay, depending on what kind of pavement you're on, sometimes you can feel like you're having a puncture. So I wasn't sure. But right here, I could feel that the gear felt like I was working harder than I should have been. The road goes up here. So I probably still got enough pressure on there to where it's not making me realize that it's time to stop. I think it's after this little rise. So this whole stretch here, you can see I'm not pedaling. I'm feeling that the tire is just not quite there. The road's gonna go left and we're gonna go up that hill. I think after that little rise is when I realized that something's up. I stayed to the left of these little rubble strips that you see there. It looks like some heavy equipment when they were making the road, paving the road. Although this road is busy, it does have a nice shoulder here. It's up and down. So this is a good workout road. It's not for sightseeing or riding two abreast. We were riding on Sunday and somebody says, car back. And then one genius in the group decides to pull out to the left to go sit next to another rider to talk. Talk about what? Still car back on a narrow road, no shoulder. And that's when you decide to block the car. You ride with a bunch of people who don't use their brains a lot of the time. Well, he got off of there after the car came by and buzzed him a little bit. He realized, well, I better get in the line. I told him, don't stay there. I was two riders behind him because how many car back do you need? After someone says car back, that's when you want to ride two abreast when the group is in a single line. So he was the only one sitting on the left. I don't do, how can I say, I don't do stupid very well. Yeah, right here is where my tire's completely gone. It's like, I'm not even pedaling. So I see a little driveway. And whenever possible, get off the highway. So I'm gonna go around Laura here. My tire's completely gone. It's completely deflated. So I'm taking a wide turn. Laura's gonna ask who had the flat. I put my hand up to let her know it's me. I'm going to that driveway over there on the right. So even though we're off the highway, I wanted us to be off this road as well. So we're not blocking anybody. So right here, I'm gonna walk the bike. Yeah, somebody asked if I got everything, yeah. I usually carry 2 tubes, but both of them were like kaput. You gotta check your tubes periodically. You will hear me say, I'm not going to do tubeless. Abby likes to say tubeless every time we have a
I just
flat.
felt it right over that rise.
It went completely flat. The tire looked like a sheet of paper and wide.
Yeah, I'll lay down. I don't mind.
Yeah, if Laura wanted to hold the bike, I thought I'll just lay it down in the grass. I lay it down on the right side. So I don't have to mess with my mirror.
Right over that rise, I started feeling.
I said, I'll be in the way at this point, so I'll just stand back.
I saw it when
So I'm going to lay it down.
I was like, what's going on? I gotta watch the product. All right. I hate when I pick up a tube out of here.
So it took me a while because we ended up putting 2 tubes in there because the first one I took out had a patch on it and it didn't hold air. So I had another one in there. So Paul brought another tube and then we used that little pump. And that's why I'm going to do the review. The pump was very good. I didn't have to.
Laura's pulling it.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the pirate doesn't mess around. When she gets to the front, it's on. Is you feeling good? Yeah, you better bring your A game. At this point, this is actually, let's see. Yeah, after our stop, we fixed the flat. We had to stop again because I had told the guy to stop inflating too early, and then we ended up using that thing and we put 90 psi. That's what I run in my tires. 90. Very comfortable, very subtle. You feel the suppleness of the tire. And then when it's really, really a hard compound tire, like let's say gator skin, I have some other wheels for my training wheels, so to speak. I run 85, which is like 6 bar. So I run between 6 bar and 6.5 bar. That's 85 to 90 psi for those folks on this side. That's what works for me. When it's wet, I will run 6 bar. So 80 to 85 in the wet, and 90 when everything's cool. Sometimes I might put 95 in the rear. It depends on the compound of the tire. Like the Vittorias, just a sweet ride. I might do 95. They feel a lot more supple sometimes, depending on which model you get. So. So we're on a road called Bainbury. We're in northwest Harris County. We're more westerly. So if you look at the map on the left, you can see we're on the far west. We're coming down. We're going southeast now. So we're coming down from the north side of town where we had been, and we're going to go east and then south and more east and then north on the end. But this was just a different route to kind of break things up than always going to Petal or, Tagliaferro and all those roads. So we're just mixing it up. Abby comes out here very often. Abby's the guy in front of Kenny on the left in the chartreuse jersey up there. He brings his Romeo rides. During the week, they have long rides. I can mostly make the Thursday rides if my schedule goes well. The Tuesday is a bit of a challenge because I'm very busy on Tuesday. Now and then I can make their Tuesday ride. It depends on where they're going. But they come out here a lot, and I really like the variety. They have a few bumps, but the roads are very quiet. It's very rural, like agricultural community. You see the white fence on the left. A lot of people have large acreage lots. Then you also have single family homes that are on the right that we're passing. But these are like people's neighborhoods we're riding through. I like these kind of roads because the speed of the traffic is low. The volume of the traffic is low. I don't like to be on very busy roads with high speeds. It's nerve-wracking. As Lou said when she rode with Abby and them, they were going to Richards a couple of weeks ago. It keeps you a little anxious, but also it's not that much fun. But look at this. This is pretty. It's quiet. We can spread out, and we're just moving along at about 22 miles an hour or so. That was Duff pulling again. Jerry is sitting on the back. Later on in the ride, Jerry gets to the front. He starts surging and surging. That's what he does. I don't really bother people. I just let them do what they want to do. I just decide if I've had enough, I let them go. I don't have no problem. If I'm not in the mood to push very hard, no, I'm not doing it. Been there, done that. Especially if I got stuff going on or if my training week didn't go well. I don't want to push harder than I can easily recover from, because Saturday and Sunday I like to be on my bike. I have more time, like most people, and so I don't want to wipe myself out on Saturday to where I can't go and do Sunday, or get home on Saturday and be totally dead. As you can see, we're moving. So we're at the point where we're averaging 19 to 20 miles an hour most of our rides, regardless of where we go, which is pretty good, So depending on how you feel when you're with a group, that you can tolerate the pace. If you're not feeling super great, sit in the wheels. When you get to the front, pull off, get back in. Just because somebody pulled for 5 minutes doesn't mean you need to pull for 5 minutes. When the person is finished pulling and you're not feeling great, consider it a courtesy to your mates to not even pull for 10 seconds. Just pull off. Because then you can save that energy to stay with the group so they don't have to wait for you or worry about you. There's no point taking a pull and then getting dropped. Your goal should be finish with the group first. Once you can finish with your group comfortably, then you start taking little pulls. And then you take longer and longer pulls as you get fitter and fitter. With the group, you'll build your fitness. Mel is struggling. We're going a little up, a little climb here, a little rise. Every time we went up the rises, I noticed that he would be struggling. So maybe he was just having an off time or off day. But he and I are going to chat. I told him we're going to talk later. I usually do the Thursday ride when I can with Romeo, and he's usually there. And so I'll pull him aside and just kind of find out. I don't know who's coaching him or what kind of training he's doing. So I don't really have any background to really give him any kind of constructive advice, But I can give him general stuff. We're turning left. That was, I believe that was Beanberry. Yeah, it's a little bump. And so people push hard on it. So what I do is when I don't have time, I have a bunch of little areas near my neighborhood. There was one near the golf course, Willow Creek. It's a steep little bump. And you can just go, you can do repeats on them. You don't have to go far to work on your strength. It's almost like weight training on the bike. If you figure that you're lacking in anaerobic fitness, you need to work on that part of your training if you want to ride with a group, if you're having trouble. Because it's a different effort and you're tapping into different systems. So you have to train for the kind of riding you're doing. If you're only sightseeing, then you of course you train accordingly. But if you're gonna get with a group, you gotta tune the fastest part of your system so that when the group speed changes, which it always does, you'll be able to keep up. Then you won't shock your body. So yeah, we're going hard here. I mean, I'm at the bottom of zone 4 for me, but it's a good clip. And we know that Mel has detached from the group, but we're on a straight road. Right now there are no turns, and we're gonna back off long enough for him to catch back up, or even slow down on one of the upcoming turns. And then he continues to struggle after that, so you hear me tell Paul that if Mel gets dropped, you guys keep riding, I will stay back with him. Somebody said Mel's off the back, and I say, yeah, I see him. Car. Yeah, we call that out because we're going to be turning. And that,
got two detached. They're right there.
So yeah, we're waiting for Mel. We're just going to soft pedal, and we're going to catch the stop sign here, so he'll catch back up. But that car was passing, and we were about to go left. That's why you heard me say car, because I wanted the riders up that were about to turn to know it's not the time to get in that left turn lane.
Okay, we're together. Everybody's here.
So Mel caught back up, so we're going to go. But he's still going to be having challenges every time people do anaerobic efforts, you know. Yeah. So he might be a little tired. You know, sometimes depending on how you sleep or whatever, your body's just not in the mood for certain efforts. And you got to recognize that and say, hey, you know, today I'm just going to chill. So I'll go ahead and let him get up front so we kind of keep our eye on him. You know, I'll talk to him. I think that he needs his fit tuned a bit. I don't think he's as efficient as he can be. We're on the open road. We're in an area called Stagecoach, I believe. We're on Nichols Sawmill Road. So when you're with your group, to keep your group moving, there's several reasons why I say keep your group moving. What I mean is, don't get excited about, oh, we dropped 5 people or we dropped 6 people. That's actually not great for your group, for the growth of your group. Find out why they got dropped. Was this something you guys were doing that caused them to get dropped? Or did they just have a bad day or whatever? Because you want to encourage those 5 or 6 people that got dropped to come to the next group ride. That's why these groups are dying. If you keep dropping people and riding away from them, why should they get up early in the morning to come to your ride? You're not riding with them. So what we did here is going to encourage Mel to keep coming, because right now he just got back from vacation. That's what I heard from Abby. He's been on vacation for like 2 weeks, somewhere in I think Montana or whatever. If you pick up a couple of weeks, yeah, you're gonna be lacking a bit of fitness. So that's understandable. And that's all the more reason to ride efficiently and sit in. That's not time to be a hero. You know that your training is not there. You sit in, you track closely. Those are the things that really matter so that you can get yourself in shape by sitting in the wheels, working harder than you're very comfortable with, but still being able to hang. And that's kind of what he's trying to do here. So I always try to find out, why did somebody get dropped? Are they just not training, or, whatever? They're just off a bit. That's what matters. Because you want to encourage these people to keep coming back to the ride so you have attendance instead of the groups just dropping up. Nobody wants to come to a ride where you just ride away from them with no care. You don't even check to say, oh, you guys, are you okay, or whatever. So the only time we leave people per se is when they say, you know what, I'm good, just go. I'm not gonna be hanging with you guys today. And they insist, and then we go. But we at least check, we'll make sure they're okay. Because this is not a no drop ride. We don't have to wait for anybody. Everybody has the route. I prepare a route, we put it out there, people look at it, to download it, whatever. Everybody kind of should know where we are, where we're going. So after the stop off camera, Mel finally decided, yeah, I just don't have it today. I'm tired. I think he was just tired. There's a lot of dirt on the road. I usually stand when we go through those. And one thing we do when somebody has a mechanical, we pitch in and we help. We make sure that person's taken care of. I mean, if it gets to the point where we simply cannot get them going, depending on what it is, then, they might call for a ride or whatever, but we make sure they're okay before we continue. We don't leave people out that have mechanicals. So it's not like a generic open ride where you just leave people. So this is keeping our group alive. The chemistry is different. I mean, we're not buddy with everybody, but at least when you come, people are going to look out for you. We make sure everybody's okay, everybody can get home, everybody's fine. That's the goal. That's my goal for this ride. I want everybody to be safe. I don't want to get on a ride and somebody crashes or, is injured. It ruins the ride for not only that person, but for everybody at the ride. No one wants to see their fellow cyclists encounter mishaps. So we're all very cognizant of that. That's what keeps our group moving. So it's not just pedaling and drafting or whatever, it's everything else. And being at one with the other road users. You're going to see in a bit, I don't know when it happened, you will see Abby wave to a car to let him know, come around. Because the car could not see around us. And Abby waved him over because he could see that the road was clear. With the other people using the road, and as a result, there's no animus. We make it clear, we're not there to block you guys. We're just out riding our bikes. We're not here. Yeah, see, I was just talking about, I wasn't sure when it happened. Abby just waved the car around. The car's gonna go around because it's clear and he can see, but the car could not see. There, that's the car that he waved around. These roads are two-lane roads, and this is what I was talking about earlier. This is not the road to go sit next to another cyclist and start chatting. There are people using the road. We need to be moving. It's not a neighborhood road. It's a slightly busier secondary road. There are no homes on either side of this road. There are maybe some businesses in certain spots, but it's a busy road. We're turning left, and Kenny had pointed right, so I made it clear so we don't mess up. We're going to be turning left here. So now when we turn left, we get into a quieter kind of road. You can kind of tell. So we turn left here, and this is quieter. So you have to gauge where you are to know when it's okay to go two abreast or whatever. But if you are doing two abreast on a road like this, if you guys are really ripping it and it's not safe to do single file, fine. The cars will wait. But if you can do single file to where they can pass easier, then you do that. I think Logan may have been pulling. He's pulled off. He's going to slip to the back. I'm going to stay on Paul's wheel. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm keeping my eye on Mel. He doesn't know, he's not aware of it, but I'm watching him. That's all I'm doing. I'm sitting back here with the camera. I'm watching him because it's clear that he's having an off day. And in your group, you can probably tell. So when I get to a group ride and I'm having an off day, you're not going to see me pulling. I will sit in. And if I'm really having a rough time of it, I'll let everybody know, hey guys, you guys go ahead. I'm going to do something a lot less intense. I'll let them know so they don't wonder. Don't hesitate to do that. Listen to your body. Only you know how you feel. Don't ruin your ride by pushing longer than you should and then crawling home and being miserable when you get back and wiped out. You don't need to do that. That does not help you improve. Now, it doesn't mean that you quit all the time. What it means is you have to recognize when you need to push to improve, and you have to recognize when my body just doesn't have it, I need to rest today. Doesn't mean you stop riding, but you ride at a reduced effort. There's a difference. There are times when you gotta hang in, when I gotta hang in because, it's rough, but I'm here. I'm okay, even though it's rough. But if you're not feeling like yourself and it's rough, that's not the time to push. But if you're feeling like yourself and it's hard, then you push. Because that's when you improve. You improve when you're well and you're challenged. You don't improve when you're below par and you're challenged. Because if you're below par, your body is dealing with something else, whether stress is from somewhere else. That's not the time to add more stress. So when you're fine, then push. And only you know that. Nobody else can tell you that, tell you how you feel. Right here is where we're going to lose Mel again. The road goes, this went from 0 to like almost 4%. And then somebody at the front, I think it's Jerry. I think Jerry's pulling. Yeah, it's Jerry. And I felt the effort go up. I mean, I don't have my power meter on this bike, but I can tell. I'm probably doing 500-600 watts. I go around Mel, just to stay on Paul's wheel. And you have to train like this. If your group's going to be doing 500, 700, 800 watts for like a 15, 20 seconds, you got to do that when you train so your body can get acclimated. We're going hard here. You see my heart rate 172. The body's doing what it needs to do because I'm tapping into different systems here. The phosphocreatine system, generating a lot of the byproduct here, lactic acid, is being generated like crazy. When you get home and you pee, your pee's yellow. That's because of that. It's full of lactic acid. And you're working hard. If you haven't trained like this, it's a shock to your system. And then you basically your body shuts down and you start pedaling squares. You have to listen to yourself. I'm still smooth. I'm riding. I don't worry about it. I'm not even looking at the heart rate. I'm just looking to see what's there. When we know Mel's being detached, somebody's going to mention it. I'm going to tell him yes. So we're going to wait for him later. In fact, after a few kilometers, I'm going to wave somebody up. And when they come by, they say, yeah, Jerry's doing all this surging. I think it's Doug. I wave them up and I turn off the power right before the intersection. Because the pace just kept changing. Right here again. You can see Paul's working. The pace has changed. Somebody's surging. Jerry's surging. So we weren't doing a steady pace. It was like 22, 27, something like that. So when your group's doing that and you want to hang, keep your gears lower than you think you need, spin it up, and then shift up. So you save your legs. Easier said than done, because you do have to train your system to be able to tolerate that. You can see I'm riding in the 170s. Your body's got to be used to functioning in zone 5. So at this point, I can kind of feel that the pace is not steady. There's a lot of surges or whatever. I don't see Mel at all in my rearview mirror. And so I figure, okay, there's a right turn coming up in a few kilometers. Yeah, the pace has picked up again. You can see my cadence went to 100 RPM. I just stayed in the same, we were doing like 26 miles an hour. So from 23 to 26, like pick a speed and go. It's like, I don't know. It's just not, and that's why they do it in road races. It's not efficient. It wastes a lot of energy. But in a group ride, it's like, unless the group is doing that, this group has been steady. So one person goes to the front, wants to change what we've been doing. But after a while, I'm like, you know what, enough of this crap. I'm just going to back off and ride at 23 or whatever, I stay a little to the right so I can see around Paul. And I don't see Mel at all, so in a little bit I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna wave the other two guys up with my left hand, just let them come up so that they don't lose the draft. They'll come around me and then I'll back off. Not sure exactly where I did it, but it was a little before the turn. There's a turn coming where we're gonna wait anyway. Yeah, well, I know these roads. We come out here a lot with Abby, so I knew to get in the middle in that turn because it's all they dropped the asphalt and did a poor job of patching. And we're really flying through here. It's going downhill now, so the effort's kind of like low. So once again, we're on a busier secondary road. It's not a neighborhood road. So I'm gonna wave them up to somebody surge again. The intersection is coming up, so I'm gonna wait for Mel. And when they get to the intersection, they turn off the power. Then we see Mel. I told them, you hear me tell them to wait so Mel can catch up. Just keep the pace down a bit. Because we're about probably more than halfway through the route now. There's a stop coming maybe in 10 kilometers, about 6 miles, our second stop. The turn is right up there. I can see them in the distance. The camera makes it appear further than it is. That's my GPS telling me there's a right turn. And then the thing beeping to let me know there's a car behind me or something. So this is the turn. Sometimes on some rides we'll stop at this gas station. Some riders already went in the gas station there. And so we're turning right. They're on the road. I'm going to ride up and let them know, let's go ahead and back off a bit. And here's the culprit who was surging. That's Jerry.
Car back. Let's keep it steady. See if Mel catches back up. Car back. Let's keep it steady. See if Mel catches back up. Let's keep it steady so Mel can catch up.
So I just wanted them to kind of maybe do 15 miles an hour, something like that. 25K, 26K. Give Mel a chance to catch up. In a little bit, he will catch up. But then they do the same thing after he catches up. So, that's just the way it is. He's having a rough day. So you hear me tell Paul, okay, if he drops again, I'll wait for him. You guys keep riding. I want to hold him up. And then after the second stop, he just finally let us go. We're already fairly close to home, familiar area. So yeah, we'll figure, okay, he'll be fine. And he was. And he posted on the board after he got home. He posted on the board that he expended too much energy too early. I told him, yeah, don't worry about it. We've all been there. That's the GPS telling me to turn left. So we're in an area called Decker Prairie. If you on the map, we're in the northwest part of town called Decker Prairie. Pretty flat. There are a lot of farmlands out here. It used to be a heavy farming area. So we're waiting for him. That's why you hear the conversation that we're doing like 28K. That's Chimpusan. John is up ahead. He's going to end up missing a turn. We're going to call out to him to turn right. There's a turn here that's going to take us west and then south. If you look at the map, that's the turn John's going to miss because we're going to go to the right, which will take us west, and then we're going to go south. So you can see most drivers go about their business, no problem. They just go, they use the open lane and pass. We always get these few people that want to act like they own the road or something, and we don't let them ruin our ride. Not that. Doug said he doesn't know. I was asking if Mel is back, so he doesn't know. I think when we turn, we're gonna wait, and as soon as we turn and we decide to wait, then he shows up. So all of this soft pedaling has enabled him. At least he sees us in the distance, so it gives him a carrot to keep riding so he doesn't give up. And but I think he just was having an off day. Yeah, I'm telling you, Chumpus already passed the turn. We're turning here. So this is where we decide to wait.
Driveway from now. I'm waiting in the shade.
Kenny said he's waiting in the shade. I was gonna wait over there, but we're gonna go further up. And as soon as I do the U-turn, I see him. I mean, we don't usually wait for everybody, but it's just one of these days where it's clear that he's having a rough time of it. So as soon as I turn, I see him.
Oh, there he is. Okay, he's here.
I turn back around.
He's here, dog. He's here.
So if you're having a rough time of it and the group waits for you.
I told Jerry last week, I said, oh, that's Surgeon.
That's what I rode with Jerry on Sunday. The Sunday the week before, and that's what they were doing. He was having fun. He likes to chase the gaps. He was riding with Sun and Ski in them. That's what he does. But anyway, if you're having a problem with the group, let's say the group space, and they wait for you, you want to do your best to stay in the wheels. You don't need to be the very last if you can, but you because at the back sometimes it's because you're reacting to something that has already happened, as opposed to if you close up for the action, maybe in the middle of the group, you stand a better chance. So we're turning right at the corner up here.
Well, actually, my dad's gonna meet me. Oh, then in Michigan.
So when we turn, with this group, people just keep riding. So you got to stay close so you're not working hard. That's male. And what happens is they're going to start pushing with you. These guys, this is how they ride. And what I'm trying to do is to encourage him to hang. So I'm going to sit on his wheel for a bit. I think Paulie Longa is going to come around to get on the group. And then I'm going to go in front of Mel and pull him to the group. Because right now he's getting gapped again. If you remember now, he was already struggling, so he rode back and caught up to us. And he really hasn't had that much of a chance to catch up. So I'm going to come in front of him. And I think Paul is going to come with me, or I don't know if he comes around. And I'm going to gradually, I don't want to go to 38K. I'm going to gradually lift. And we have a lot of riders in the area that don't get this. If somebody's struggling, don't just change the speed drastically, because then you really put them in a world of hurt. You got to make things smooth, gradual. I know I can get up there, but that's not the point. If I go so hard that the guy I'm trying to pull can't sit on my wheel, then what's the point of that? So we're turning right here. We're taking all these little quiet roads, and I'm looking in my mirror to make sure everybody's there. I think Paul is on my wheel and Mel is on Paul's wheel. I figure if I'm sitting here at sweet spot, he should at least get a little bit of a reprieve to kind of catch his breath before we get up to the group. I think Jerry's back there as well, and Jerry's going to come around and he's going to be going too fast for what we're trying to do here, and we'll just kind of let him do his thing. Yeah, he's going a lot faster than I want to go right now, because I don't want us to lose the guy we're trying to keep with us. So I don't lift our pace. I'm in a large gear, just kind of keeping it smooth, so he can kind of get a rhythm back there. So I'm edging the effort up just a little bit. My heart rate has gone up like 4 beats. Just a little bit. Because those guys are not even aware of what we're doing back here. They're just riding. And I don't want us to get too far behind. So this road is relatively flat. It's slightly downhill here. So now I'm going to pick up the effort a little bit. So Paul's coming to the front. So this is how you bring somebody back. You don't need to go from 22 miles an hour to 28 miles an hour. I mean, unless the person wasn't having a problem. But if the person was having a problem and you go that hard, you would drop them. And then by the time they get to the group, they're wasted. You know, they got nothing left. So the road is relatively flat, so we're gonna go a little harder, just a little. You can see Mel working. I'm doing 38K, fast. So we're closer to the group now, so we're gonna go ahead and rev up. I think Paul is sitting on Jerry's wheel now. I think Jerry's slowed down, and so he's pulling. And this pace is actually taking a lot out of Mel, in my opinion. So when I train on Tuesdays, I do a lot of intervals and jumps and different things. So my body's used to these changes. But it was kind of like, I didn't want to leave him way out here. Decker Prairie area is like, when you're riding by yourself, it seems busier than it is. It's nice to be in a group out here, because it's mid-morning, a lot of cars. So right here, he fell off the wheel again. That's why I did not want to go that fast. So I'm gonna ride, if you watch my shadow, just gradually, I'm gonna slip in front of him, put my wheel there, I'm gonna pull him to the back of the group, and now I'm gonna let Paul know. If he drops again, I'll wait for him, you guys keep going. Because it's clear. So Paul didn't hear me.
If Mel gets dropped, I'll stay back with him. Just keep riding.
So I don't know what you did on Saturday, but this is part of what we did. So I went ahead and stayed back with Mel. We're gonna climb a hill in a bit. It's a long climb, and I waited for him until after the climb. There's a store where we stopped, and so everything worked out. So this is how you keep your group going. Get your K's in and keep the doctors fine.